Hey there! Today, we're talking about coffee, yes, the drink that powers so many of our mornings, workdays, and late nights. But have you ever wondered where coffee actually came from and how it became such a big deal? Turns out, coffee has a fascinating global history that goes way back. Let's jump right into the story, starting with a little legend from Ethiopia. The story begins in Ethiopia, where there was a goat herder named Kaldi. The legend says that one day, Kaldi noticed his goats acting super energetic, almost like they were dancing around. He realized they had been eating these red berries from a nearby plant. Kaldi tried a few himself, felt a similar rush of energy, and thought he might have stumbled upon something amazing. Eventually, a local monk got wind of this strange, energizing fruit and started using it to make a drink that helped him stay awake during long hours of prayer. From there, the word spread, and coffee was on its way to becoming more than just a curious berry. Fast forward a bit, and coffee found its way across the Red Sea to Yemen, where people started roasting the beans and brewing something closer to what we know as coffee today. By the 15th century, coffee houses, yes, the first coffee shops, were popping up in cities throughout the Middle East, especially in places like Mecca and Cairo. These early coffee houses were more than just places to grab a quick drink. They were buzzing hubs where people gathered to chat, share ideas, and listen to music. Coffee houses quickly earned the nickname schools of the wise because they attracted so many thinkers, artists, and scholars. You could say coffee was fueling intellectual exchange long before it fueled our workday routines. Eventually, coffee made its way to Europe, and that's where things really took off. When coffee first reached places like Venice in the early 17th century, some people were a little suspicious of this dark, exotic drink. But once they tasted it, coffee's popularity exploded. Coffee houses spread throughout Europe, from England to France to Austria, becoming places where people of all backgrounds could gather, discuss, and debate. Fun fact, some of these coffee houses even became known as penny universities because for the price of a cup of coffee, you could get access to intellectual conversations and new ideas. Pretty cool, right? By the time coffee reached the New World, places like New Amsterdam, which is now New York City, it was well on its way to becoming the global phenomenon we know today. In fact, after the Boston Tea Party, coffee became a patriotic alternative to tea in the American colonies. People were all about that coffee buzz, especially with tea linked to British taxes. The shift to coffee really cemented the drink's place in American culture. Since then, coffee has only gotten more popular, evolving into a huge global industry with countless ways to brew, flavor, and enjoy it. Now, we've got everything from instant coffee to espresso shots, and even things like nitro cold brew. It's hard to believe that it all started with one curious goat herder watching his goats go. So, next time you take a sip of your morning coffee, remember that you're enjoying a drink with hundreds of years of history and culture behind it. From the hills of Ethiopia to the streets of New York City, coffee has traveled a long way to be in your cup today. Let's dive into one of the most cunning tricks in history, the story of the Trojan Horse. You've probably heard of it, but what exactly happened? Let me break it down for you. Our story takes us back to ancient Greece around 1200 BCE during the legendary Trojan War. This wasn't just a quick skirmish. This war dragged on for 10 long years between the Greeks and the Trojans. The Greeks wanted to take down the city of Troy, but here's the catch: Troy was impossible to breach. It was surrounded by massive walls that were practically impenetrable. Now, after years of fighting and getting nowhere, the Greeks came up with a genius idea, or should I say, a sneaky one. A Greek hero, Odysseus, devised a plan to build a gigantic wooden horse. Why a horse? Well, the horse was a sacred symbol to the Trojans, so it was the perfect bait. Here's what they did. The Greeks pretended to give up and sail away. But before they left this massive wooden horse outside the gates of Troy as a gift to the gods, supposedly a sign of their surrender. What the Trojans didn't know was that the horse was hollow. Inside, it was packed with Greek soldiers, the best of the best. The Trojans, thinking they had won, brought the horse into the city as a trophy. They celebrated their victory all day with feasting and partying. By nightfall, they were drunk, exhausted, and totally unprepared for what was about to happen. When the city was silent, the soldiers hidden inside the horse climbed out and opened the gates of Troy. The rest of the Greek army, which had secretly sailed back under the cover of darkness, stormed in. The Trojans were caught completely off guard. Troy was destroyed, and the Greeks claimed victory. Thank you for watching. For more captivating historical content, please show your support subscribing to our channel.